Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome back to the second episode of Cities Skylines 2. We are playing in Glenville and I am looking for some name suggestions, so please do let me know. We just went over to Tiny Village, and we've unlocked Death Care, and we decided that this little island over here is going to be a nice little feature of our town. It does have a bit of a small coal power plant to look out onto, but generally it's going to be pretty good. Now, this area over here we can also, and this is our first little section of residential. And what I said in the last episode is we'll need to sort out our zoning blocks a little bit. So this is one of the tricks you can use to try and get your zoning to work a little bit better. So basically we're just running that little line there, and I don't mind not absolutely filling up everything. So I'd rather just gonna get the zoning the right way. Also, if we're going to transition to row housing at some point, which we will do as we zone, as we expand and we rezone to become a little bit more densely packed, we will be doing a little bit of rezoning, and the row houses is definitely something that's going to look super cool in this area. So one thing that I would like to have a look at is just trying to remove as much zoning off of this area, at least as a starting point, and then we'll go back from there. So the idea is generally to kind of cut off these kind of big roads here. I'm happy to leave that on that side. That's pretty cool. And then once we get stuff zoned in, we will change that up again. So this one here, need to just do a bit of this. Yeah, so all of these, we're just going to do work with these a little bit to try and get ourselves the most appropriate zoning. Now, we won't necessarily fill out the block, so we might even run through to the back there as well. Citizen happiness and population increase is giving us some experience points towards our next upgrade. So there we go. We sorted that out a little bit. Now we don't have to fill these up. Ooh, we need a few more. On there, just to make sure we're doing the right thing. And similarly, I'd like to do that so we don't. Yeah. Anyway, that's an interesting one that we're not getting a 4-4. Well, probably because they're supposed to be equidistant, right? So that is an interesting feature. That really is an interesting feature that I'm seeing here. So if I were to do this, right, we get 4 on that side. If I take that one back out again, and we go there now. Now it's on the other side, but we're still not getting a 4-4 back to back over there, which it should. It obviously means that this isn't exactly 90 degrees. But I'm not going to be too worried about it. So that's the starting point here. Now you can see we've got all of these zones nice and filled in. People are enjoying living here. Now, what we'll do now is we'll continue doing that, but we'll continue on the North American theme. I think a 4x4 is not bad at all. So we'll keep filling those out a little bit. 4 on this side and 4 on that side. Interesting how that works there. So anyway, we'll fill those in. Ooh, that's an interesting little look and feel. We'll do this one. So I don't mind filling more and more of them in. That one's a little awkward, so I don't know if we maybe use that for something else, but the rest of this I'm quite happy to continue to fill this in with demand. Now, the demands here, we don't have demand for low density anymore, so we need some places for these people to be working. At this stage, industrial is the only thing we can do. So what I might do is I might do a little industrial zone right over here. It's going to be a small one. I'm not going to do a massive industrial zone in here. And we'll kind of back it up onto the hill here.
So the idea is really that we pick ourselves a contour and we try and, well, stick to it a little bit at least. So if we were to do pretty sure I clicked something there, huh? So there we go. So if we do a little something like that, right, that gives us a pretty reasonable contour. I'm going to do a straight shot up here. So that's at 90 degrees. Right, we'll run up there. This guy will continue to kind of tie in here. That's it's pretty reasonable. And I think I'll do a similar straight 90-degree shot up the hill over there as well. Right, so there we go. And this, I think, is what I'm going to use as our industrial area. So what I'll do is I'll run it in there. Yeah, say up to there. And we'll tie it in here. And we may kind of change that at some point to slightly different pieces. So again, somewhat grid-like, but not necessarily too griddy. So anyway, something like that as a bit of a starting point for us. What I would like to do is just make sure that we are kind of zoning off the kind of the side roads, not so much the collectors. So these would be the collectors. I would prefer not to zone off the collectors all that much, and we're definitely not zoning off the arterial. So we can have some smaller ones here and some slightly larger ones over there. And then we may not have anything up against the hill. So that's going to be like our little industrial area. And the question is, do we need smaller blocks or something? Look, these are industrial in nature. So let's just start off with a few industrial little lots over here, and we'll go from there. So now, if I were to remove this guy, I believe our zoning structure will kind of remain very similar on that side. So we'll start off with those two. That's going to be our very first pieces of employment, I think. Well, we do need workers in these areas, and we'll have a bit of a look at what our status is just after this. So now I think we can remove some of these other ones. So let's take some of these out. Oh, did it? Why? Hang on. Let's see what's happening with that. That is interesting. It immediately breaks them down. So let's clear that one out, and we'll get it all zoned up to that one. Let's pop that one out. It's a slightly smaller one over there. Let's get it all built in first, I think. It's interesting that we're actually losing the zoning grid as we do this. So lots and lots of demand. So let's continue to satisfy that demand as best we can. So let's do like we'll just fill this thing in completely like so. It should be absolutely fine. We'll do someone like that. We'll do someone like this. I think I'm going to kind of leave the paths in here so that we know what we're doing when it comes to the row housing. I might leave that one open. Now, I think as a starting point, let's get ourselves a bit of a clinic. That's something we've got demand for, and we may need some additional. So some of the options we have is we could put the clinic like right over here, or we could put it on this stretch there. There should be some room for expansion. I kind of like the idea of putting it over here on Pine Street. It's going to give us access to the arterial network pretty easily, and it's nice and central. Now, most of these buildings have upgrades associated with it. So if we look at the ambulance depot, that goes directly in here. We can do the one, and we can do a bit of an expansion wing, probably on that side as we see it necessary a little bit later. So that's the first piece there. The other thing that we could do is we could have a look at a bit of a landfill. Now, I don't think a landfill goes too great with our kind of setup over here, so I might not do that one straight away. What I will do is we'll continue to do little bits of
of commercial in some of these areas. Maybe something like that. So we'll do a little bit more commercial in all of these areas. So all of these like houses have a little bit of commercial that they can deal with. You can see the commercial demand responding really quickly to that. Death care should be available and doing its thing at the moment. Yeah, there we go. Should be absolutely fine. What was that? It was interesting. Okay, now, what did we unlock? We unlocked city vitals. So where would we find it? Over here, city statistics. So our money, our budget, income, expenses, all pretty bad. Let's have a look at population count. Our population is growing steadily. Only 150 people though at the moment. Number of households is steadily growing. All of these kind of things. So there's a fair bit of stuff that we can do. Trade value. But anyway, there's not a lot for us to have a look at just yet in terms of this space. Ooh, what is this? So if you press the C button, you get city information. So now you can actually see the availability of jobs is asking for higher density development to start coming in. Ooh, a rock musician's house, new infrastructure building is available. Ooh, I think that could go over here too. That would be really cool. Anyway, so we've got these signature buildings. We'll have a look at that now. So here we can have a look. You can click on the city information button, or you can hit the C button on your keyboard. So we see we still have unoccupied buildings, which is reducing the low density demand. We've got availability of jobs and happiness. And similarly, that's driving medium density. Then in terms of commercial, we've got local demand, we've got labor available, and we've got high skill labor available. Ooh, that's interesting. So that's driving commercial demand for us over here. But certainly, I think that means we can now maybe look at a little bit of row housing. So let's have a look. And I'm going to start off with some North American style row housing. I think these 9 blocks over here will slowly transition to some North American styled blocks. So again, a trick with the row housing is to do it like so. So let's do a bit of this. We'll clear these out. Wow, that's a little bit long. So we want them 4x4 basically. So a trick with the row housing is to zone not on the edge so that you don't get row housing going in the other direction, basically. And then once they've started coming in, you can add a little bit more to the mix over there. So there we go. So that'll be our first little high density section. This is kind of going to be the center of town, I think. So we will definitely have a little bit more commercial along these roads. People are kind of using access points and the likes. There's lots of demand for low density still, but slowly and steadily we're gonna kind of increase this demand a little bit. Cypress Street over here could have some more, but I think I'm gonna try and get the bulk of our commercial directly onto Pine Street on this side here. We'll grab a little bits and pieces so people can at least walk to where they want to go. Now we've got so over here you can see the signature buildings. So as you do various things, whether that be progression or fulfill some variety of things in here. So as you can see, if we have enough cells of low density housing plus media goods produced, where we can get the next one, film, actor, mansion, and so on and so on and so on. So really, that's quite an interesting one. Here you can see we're filling most of it. So here a musician's mansion, and it gives 2 points of well-being within 500 meters. So I'm kind of tempted to use some awkwardly sized blocks. Like this would be absolutely cool if we use Pine Street over here and we fill this area up, make it look quite nice. And then it will give all of this a bit more well-being boost. I think that's kind of going to be the nice thing to do. I was kind of thinking maybe over here, but we're not going to get the benefit of it by doing that, really. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather just kind of put it right over there. We'll get that nice and in place. And then what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of landscaping in here. Well, as landscaping as you can get in a game, in this game at the moment. And it's just by maybe grabbing some trees and putting them in there. So let's have a look at what's kind of the trees that we have over here. We've got some oaks and we've got some birch trees. I think some birch trees over here might do a good job.
So let's trim back the pathway over here a little bit more. And we might just run a bit of a pathway through that side. So I do like the way the paths work in this game, in the sense that we can do a little bit of snapping over here, and we get a bit of a crossing going on that side. Yeah, something like that should be just fine. So that gives us a bit of a connection through there. Now let's get some birch trees going. That's a pine, that's a hickory, a linden, a birch tree over here. So now, as you can see, that little ring around tells you what the size of the tree can grow into when it gets to, you know, to maturity. And it takes a while for trees to grow in this game. So basically, we'll just slowly move around here, put some trees up, so it kind of defines this property a little bit more. We don't have parks or anything we can actually apply just yet. But yeah, so we'll just slowly give it a little bit of an edge there. And it will ensure we have a bit of green space in the town as well. There we go. All the way into the corner there. Okay, and that kind of puts it to the end there. Go around this way, tying these in. Just like so. I think that's going to be just fine. I hope that makes a bit of sense there. We'll do that, so we'll kind of tie them in. Now I wouldn't mind getting a bit of an oak tree going. 1 or 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, something like that. A few apple trees. And then we just do some wildflower bushes. And some wild green bushes as well. So it would be great if we had a few more props that we can play with, but I think that's kind of the idea. So now that'll grow in quite nicely. It looks like a nice big yard. And we've unlocked the second milestone, which is small village. We've got some more money, more development points, and more expansion permits. So let's have a look at the progression panel now. Now we have the ability to deal with our taxation. We can loan some more money. We've got some real density now, medium density at least. And we've got elementary and high school. So education is now available to us. Education has opened up over here, and so we can immediately now unlock a college if we wanted to do so. I'm going to hold on to the points for the time being, as I don't necessarily see the need for anything just yet. But what I will be doing is having a bit of a look at locations for our education facilities. So as a starting point, the elementary school, I think, can go right over here. I like this idea quite a lot. And we should have room for a few expansion buildings on that, I think. We'll have to keep a bit of an eye out for that one. So I think we'll pop it straight in over there. So now we do have access. I don't mind having it directly onto Orchard Street over here. So now what do we have? We've got an elementary school playground. That is a lot of well-being in the area. And I think I'm going to just like move it in right over there maybe. So now we've got a bit of a playground for the students. And the other thing, we can expand in terms of adding a wing, so that could work. Or we could get a children's clinic going on here, probably to the back over there. Actually, could we? Can we? Oh, we'll have to remove the entire thing. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave that in place there. Could have put it at the back. Actually, I'm going to redo it. Let's redo it. We'll get our refund. We'll go again. We'll get ourselves our school. I want to put it straight up on the edge there. Like so. I think that's going to be fine. Yes, that works well. Then if we add, I'm going to put the playground
in line over there, and then ultimately I can put the clinic, maybe something like over here. That is a children's clinic, right? Children's clinic over there in the future. And we can kind of use this area. Now I can actually expand this playground to look pretty nice, and we can still use the rest of this area for maybe some commercial. I think a little bit of a commercial area over here is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, what I wouldn't mind doing is just putting in a little bit of a buffer for this area over here. So we actually zone our commercial in this area. So let's do a little bit of commercial zoning. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a bit of a European style commercial zoning right over here. Low density yet again. Those 3 plots over there will look pretty nice. And then I can also add a few more trees, just detail it just a little bit around the corner. I don't know which trees these are. They will grow over time. But let's see about adding maybe a few extra kind of smallish trees, not oak trees, chestnut trees maybe. Yeah, that looks like it. So what I'm keen on doing is if we kind of see about expanding maybe to the back of this area here. Something like that. Ooh, that might be one too many. Let's take one of them out. So something like that gives us a little bit of it. So just kind of. So that's what that's something that I like doing when we have a few awkwardly sized plots. So without necessarily creating everything as a grid, we can quite easily make the area look just a little bit nicer by doing a few bits and pieces like this, maybe a wildflower bush or two, and there we go. So there we go. So it just looks a little bit more squared off there. We'll do the same thing with the clinic on this side and maybe expand, like which looks like being our playground a little bit more. But yeah, so that's going to be a good starting point for us. People should be pretty happy. Here you can see the happiness meter. People like their spacious homes. There's a lot of wealth going on there. Walking distance to elementary school, abundance of leisure time, unreliable healthcare coverage, which is an interesting one because we should be pretty good at this point in time. None of the vehicles are in use, so really healthcare responsiveness should be really, really good. We've got no demand for low density, but we do in fact have some demand for higher density or medium density. So what we'll do is we'll continue to expand out over here, get some more row homes coming in there. Kind of like the idea of doing a little bit of this. Now we should be able to expand things a little bit further if we wanted to. We can put a row of trees down here. Things can start looking pretty nice. These are the kind of European style ones, which don't really look that European to me. Now, what else have we unlocked? We've unlocked a high school. So a high school will be a much more kind of significant part of what we have here. So as we expand, I think actually I'm going to use some of my expansion permits and just expand into this area here, which will ultimately kind of be the like port area. Something like that, for instance. I'll just go ahead and purchase that. That's pretty good. And then the question mark really sits, we'll probably need at least like more than one kind of school area. So we might have to, or high school. We'll need multiple kind of elementary schools, but maybe this island can be served by just one big high school. I think there might be a chance that we can serve the island with a high school, especially if we're not going to go super dense on here. But I think we might go fairly dense, to be honest. But we can expand our demands here. Now, one of the things I wanted to have a bit of a look at is, can we see workers? So workplace availability. So at the moment, we've got 244 employees and 255 workplaces. So what we do see is that we've got 11 well-educated open positions that we're not filling. So that's a bit of an issue for us. Well-educated citizenry comes from
educated is high school, poorly educated is primary school, educated is high school, and well educated would be college. So we would kind of need to build a college if we wanted to really address that component there. Please kind of remove this. Can we get rid of the little button there? Doesn't seem to be possible at this stage. Oh yes, there it goes. It goes away. Perfect. So that's the one. Now, what we can do is we need to just have a bit of a look as to where we're going to put our school. I'm kind of tempted to put our school up on Forest Street over here. So let's have a look. Forget about that. Let's get the road going. This is nice and flat, so it will work really well. And if we do a one-way loop, with some parking lots and the likes, that might be really awesome. So if we go here, now if we stop snapping, can we? Yeah, it gets a bit of an access point straight away. So the idea is no, get snapping back on. So the idea is we would like a school maybe in line here. Actually, that might be pretty good. So let's do that. And I can't remember the depth. So if we go to development points, right? We've got 2 development points. I'm not going to do the college just yet, but what I wouldn't mind is having a look at parking areas. So let's grab parking areas. You can see I work in transport and I love the transport side of things. So let's unlock parking areas. Now, if we go over here, we go to parking areas, we can see that we've got a variety of sizes of parking. So that one is 5 tiles. This one is how many tiles? I can't see. Also 5 tiles, I think. Yeah, also 5 tiles. This one is 6, 7, 8 tiles. So I kind of like the idea of maybe doing that. That one is, wow, even deeper. But this is very expensive, isn't it? Yeah, let's just go with these ones instead. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place it here. This is a guide. I'm gonna move it to the other side soon. But now the idea here for me is we're going to do a one-way road in line with this one, right? And we would like it to, you know what? Let's snap it to the building. There we go. That's it. And this one, we would like to tie it in over there, 90 degrees. Let's just get it straight and tie it in over there. And then what I want to do is I want to relocate this guy and put it nicely in there. I might move it again a little bit. We'll just have a look. So there we go. So Concord Street is going to, we're just going to go ahead and expand Concord Street a little bit. Okay, and at some point we'll bring it back out. Maybe even we'll get some bus stops and the likes in there. And now give me a high school. And the high school will need some expansions as well. But I would like to do it just like something like that, right? If we do that and we bring Concord Street out and back out like this at a 90-degree angle. There we go. That's it. And we get rid of the rest of Concord Street there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to relocate this guy to be placed nice and central. There we go. And then we've got our parking spot here for the high school. That's pretty cool. We'll get bus stops and the likes in here as well. And we can always play around with the rest of this a little bit more. Now, what does a high school also do for us? And one of the things I wanted to do, let's just expand this road connection and go straight in there. So now at least people can get straight from this area and go into the high school and come back out. And you know what I'm keen on? Let's have a look. So if we were to do a little bit of this, and we see about getting some level of... Yeah, that doesn't quite want to work. Maybe it's just the simple curve that we need to do. Let's trim that one back, get ourselves the simple curve. Maybe this one. Why does it want to... It really struggles, isn't it? If we do this, how does that look? It's not bad. I don't mind it, to be honest. I do not mind it. It is a one-way still. One way that way. Do we one-way up the rest of this? Just to make sure. I think we one-way the rest of this thing as well. So let's do all the way over there. There we go. And yeah, we've got one way here, one way there. That's awesome. I like that idea a lot. Now we've got an Elm Street loop going around here. With a little bit of interesting maneuvers there. So see, this is how you can actually expand your grid to look really nice. Now, what do we have for upgrades here? We've got an extension wing, which you certainly don't need. We've got a library that helps graduations. And then we can build a sports field, which gives us a lot of additional recreation. Oh man, I would have loved to squeeze it in over there. Can I move it just a slightly bit over? If I were to do that, now it will actually squeeze in there. Then I'm going to move the parking lot again. And I might even move the... we'll see. I might even move the rest of it. So now, hang on. Get in here. If I look at this now, look at that. So, I might... Oh, is that a perfect... Oh, that's perfect. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So there we go. That's our sports field, and that immediately gives us a lot of improvement here. And now I'm kind of tempted to see what we can do with parking. So if we were to want to grab some additional parking in here, it's not actually going to fit in there. These guys won't fit either. And we won't be able to get two of them anyway. So if we were to do this, and then, yeah, will we... What will happen in that area there? We can't... Oh, we... Good, but that's not a... Yeah, that's not... It's a tiny... It's not quite there. Yeah, that doesn't actually want to work. But I think that's going to be okay. Going to be slightly awkwardly looking, but there we go. I think that's the idea. Got a parking spot working quite nicely. People can get in there, no problems. Probably going to, reduce the cost of this at all. Actually, at the moment, let's just make it free. And we'll move on from there. Now, we need some further expansion in terms of our lower density, so let's continue to deal with that. I'm quite happy to just do that. Yeah, and there. And, well, let's leave that one open and let's get it onto this one. There we go. That's fine. The Rockstar's mansion is ready to go. People would be nice and happy living there. We could, at the later stage, zone some stuff on the other side of this road, potentially. We do have some demand for expanding our higher density areas. So I might do these three first. So let's do the next section here. I'm going to stick with the North American style for the time being. So let's go and zone that area. We'll get rid of all of these houses and try and get a little bit get a little bit more going on in terms of our row houses. Now the medium density can start filling in again. A low density is certainly working, and there is a healthy demand for industrial, but I don't necessarily want to do that without making sure that we have the kind of workers that we're after. So if we look at this, at the moment, we've got 12 open positions for well-educated citizens. There is less employees than there are workspaces. And so plenty of work available and not so many people to work there. But maybe the higher density stuff is going to help us out a little bit more. That's an interesting one. We can certainly look at some fancy stuff over here as we continue to grow. Different styles of things. Now, the chirper over here is something that we can have a look at every now and again to just make sure that people are happy with what's going on. People are appalled by the healthcare in the city. You never know if you're going to get treatment or not. So why is people so pissed off by the healthcare state of things? Let's have a look and see if we can figure something out. So if we look at healthcare, people are saying there's plenty of healthcare availability and plenty of cemetery availability, but their average health is 60. Availability of medical treatment and the number of sick and injured in the city, average health across all citizens, as well as the number of citizens currently receiving inpatient care. Providing sufficient healthcare improves lives, allows them to return to work faster after being sick or injured. I just don't know why people would be so appalled by it. It seems like it's got capacity. There's only one sick person, but we've got a room for 100. None of the vehicles are in use, so I really can't quite get why there's an issue. The ambulance depot, space for several additional ambulances. I don't know if that's going to necessarily help us that much. Adds to our budget, but doesn't look like we need that as the moment. We do have a fair bit of demand for commercial. Now, commercial, if we have a bit of a look, commercial requires employees, poorly educated to educated employees. So building more commercial stuff will effectively drive a higher demand for employees. So we need to just kind of bear that in mind just a little bit. I'm tempted to do a little something here in terms of maybe squeeze this out a little bit, get it on a slightly more interesting little loop. But anyway, I think that should be fine. So now people can have access to this area quite easily. People's well-being should generally be pretty good. It's just a -1 on the unreliable healthcare. Row homes are coming in quite nicely now. We do need people to be spending their money on upgrades, but I think we're going to get the next milestone soon. 7 more experience points, so we're practically there. And then we can see what's the next big thing for us to come. But slow and steady is the name of this game, and I do like it. So one of the things that I think we should be looking at now is what the next big grid network is going to look like over here. So let's grab ourselves a road, and we would like to maybe just switch. Oh, there we go, large village. Before we go further, let's have a look at what we've got. So large village, more development points, more expansion permits, more money, and we have received more loan limits. Service budgets can now be looked at. Now we can do some livestock farming, stone mining. We might do a bit of stone mining on that hill, I think. That might be pretty good. Fire and rescue and police stations needs to go in at the moment. From a development perspective, now we have fire and rescue, so we can build some shelters and fire stations and the likes, or upgrade towards them. We can have a welfare office and a police headquarters. We're not going to do any of those things just yet, but we may start jumping in with some police and certainly some fighting action, I think, as well. Definitely something that I'm keen on. This area over here could be a pretty reasonable spot to get everybody good fire access. So let's have a bit of a look if that might be. I'd rather put it at the back there. So now it'll be a bit of a loop around. It's going to have pretty good access over here. So I might do that. I don't think it's got an expansion at all. Or it might have an expansion, but it's on site, I think, on the same site. So let's do... do the fire station over here. And the police station. Ooh, this is pretty good. Actually, that works really well. Fire station and police station. If we look at the upgrade, it's on site. If we look at this upgrade, it's on site too. So that's actually a very good combination. I like that. I like that a lot.
I'm kind of tempted to redo this. Oh, we've got districts now. I didn't even spot the districts thing. Let's have a look. Milestones. Where was the districts? So, oh, it's the specialized areas. We don't have districts. It's these livestock and stone mining areas that comes from, basically. This looks really good. I think this looks awesome. But I'm pretty keen on actually making them. I'm gonna replace this. Right, so that the guys can actually go out in the other direction as well. I think that's going to be way better. Yeah, that's good. So at least this remains one way, that remains one way, but these guys can go out into all kinds of different directions now. Just gives that accessibility a slight improvement there. Let's add a few more commercial spots here. We'll go back to North American style. And we'll maybe do the other side of Elm Street here. Well, we'll just do maybe something like that. Yeah, get a couple in there to expand that. We may do. I'm kind of tempted to maybe do a little bit of an alleyway in here and do some more stuff to the back there, just to maximize our room there without necessarily getting too close to this road. There needs a bit of room there so that we can ultimately upgrade that road. Okay, and we might be very close to the end of this episode. So what I would like to just have a look at is now we've got these. So we can do, oh, here we go. This is a fertile area right here. Wow, that is unfortunate. See, we couldn't see that, but there's some other fertile areas. And we might not do kind of proper farming in here. But you know what? Like a livestock farm might be quite interesting here, but if this is going to be our denser area, the livestock farm will just never cut it. So let's quickly expand our row homes here. That's good. Get our row homes in there nicely. Neatly expanding our density there. I like it. I like it. All of these services, people should be really happy with everything they've got here at the moment. Unreliable healthcare coverage is quite an interesting one for me. So we're still at the moment, and we'll have a look at city services. Yeah, let's look at city services quickly before we go much further. What I was kind of wondering is if we can do a stone quarry in here. I think we can. Let's get ourselves a stone quarry. I wouldn't mind a bit of a stone quarry in this area. Just on the side of the hill. We'll eat into this a little bit and then leave a lot of the space available. But maybe what we'll need to do is just maybe get a bit of an expansion permit going. Just the one over there, and then we'll do a nice big like quarry structure in this area. And that'll be a bit of our industrial component here. So let's get ourselves a stone mine. And I'm pretty... So what we might do is now we might have a quick look at the terraforming tools. So here we've got shifting terrain. So if we left mouse click it goes up, right mouse click it goes down in that brush area and at that strength ratio. We could level the terrain by kind of hitting the right mouse button if we get ourselves an area, and then we kind of push that in a little bit. So this is what I'm kind of going to do with our stone component. So it kind of looks like a quarry. That's going to be pretty good. You can soften the terrain a little bit like that. So you just click it and it just softens out a little bit. Or you can create a slope, which is quite an interesting one. I'm not going to do that now. We will definitely use the slope tool as we start building bridges and stuff. For the time being, I'm going to try and get a bit of a harsh area happening here into the side of the hill. And that's going to be our stone quarry. So I might make it look slightly irregular. Something like that. So something like that, right? It doesn't cost us much to do this. We will leave like the hill in place, and it's going to be slightly irregular like that, but this can be our stone quarry right over here. So let's do that. Let's have a look. We'll get the stone extractor, and we might We might actually place it just a little bit like this to a bit to the center of this area here. And we have a road there, right? I want to do something like that, right? And we'll come back and place its area in just a minute. And now from here, I wanted to do the. So I'm not too fussed by I'll do that. So it kind of looks the part a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. And now we need to kind of get the area in place. So if I go here and say, well, let's get the area going. Oh, okay. I see what I need to do. So you can kind of drag it out over here and click and add some more to the mix there. So let's do this. We'll drag that out to the edge there. I'm going to pause the game just for a second. I don't want stuff to be popping in. Can we get it to go over there? We can. Okay, so we try and keep it nice and on this ridge line here. So we're losing a lot of trees as we do it, right? Because it's actually getting removed. But what I'm trying to do is see how best we can utilize the kind of the terrain that we've got planned out here. We do that. See something like that, right? Can we? Yeah, if you press I, you can see how that looks. So clearly, what we need to do is it's actually not looking that good if it goes onto the top of it. So you really want to see about bringing it in a little bit, but we let's just remove snapping from this tool so we can really refine what we make this look like here. So that's kind of the idea here. That's pretty good there. Oh, that will take out the tree, which I don't necessarily want to do. I want to bring it in a little bit over there. See, so that actually starts looking pretty interesting. We don't want it to be too severe. If we do something like this, take it a bit in there, just a tad. That's a bit too far. We bring that back out again. We cover off some of this greenish area here. We go in there. So I think that from my perspective, I just want to make sure it kind of looks like a quarry, right? If we do that. Do a bit of this. Take it up to the side of the road there. There we go. And now it's going to look, I think, like a reasonably sized quarry. Going to look pretty industrial, I think. Okay, so that should work. There we go. So if we do that, I think that looks like a pretty decent quarry. Can we maybe bring this out a little? Right? Does that look? That looks like a reasonable quarry. So let's play that and see. Does it actually put a... Doesn't actually do much in terms of putting some stuff in there, does it? Okay, does not seem to be the case. We might expand it a little bit later. It's got one employee. It doesn't seem to need much more than one. Full Skill Grinding is the company's name, so we might improve that a little bit over time. But yeah, that gives us a good spot going on right over there. So that's been a 50-minute episode there, guys. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to come back in the next episode, and we're going to see about expanding out. I actually like that. That looks really good. Into the side of the hill there. It looks like the kind of spot where you would find a quarry. And it kind of justifies the industrial area in here a little bit more. I like it. I like the idea of it. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next episode. Please continue to give me name ideas for this area, for our region as a whole, any specific buildings or islands you would like us to name. Please do that. Hit the like button, throw a thumbs up emoji in the comments, all these kind of good things. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.